Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to Ocean Springs, Mississippi. It is just after 2:15 p.m. and this is live weather. As you can see, it's looking like we might get some rain, possibly some thunderstorms. Okay, and today this is going to be not just a flight. I got a couple of stories here. Okay, and I'm going to fly on out to Deer Island. And the two stories I want to talk about are regarding Deer Island. One of them is about Deer Island's haunted past, which I'm going to read it and we're going to talk about it out there. And the other story I want to share is going to be something that happened to me. And this was, I believe, in 2009. And it was really scary. I'm going to just make it a quick summary, and I'm probably lucky to be here today, and it'll make sense when I start telling you about the stories the story that happened to me in this kayaking trip out there, solo kayaking trip to Deer Island. So let's go ahead now, and I'm going to get in the plane, and we're going to get this all started up. Let's go to cockpit view, and I might get an ATIS, and as you can see, the wind suck. It's like it might be a little crosswind. Well, maybe not. We're going to take off on that end. I'm going to pull into the runway right here and take off. So that is runway 36. Okay, so I'm going to take off from 36. So we're going to take off to the north, and I'm going to just do that turn back out to the south. And Deer Island's really close, really close. In fact, you can see it just right out there. Okay, so it's really close. All right, so let's go ahead now, and we're gonna get to the cockpit view, and I'm gonna get my battery switches on, see about pulling an ATIS up and see what the wind is and everything. All right, so let's get our strobe. Let's get all of the lights on, okay, because I might need that. The fuel pumps are going to be on. So store power on. Okay, and we have the Fox 2. And what I'm going to do is, once I get to Deer Island, I'm going to land this plane on the beach, and I'm going to do a camp out. We're going to camp overnight, and I'm going to talk about, first thing I'm going to talk about is the haunted past of Deer Island. Of course, we're going to wait till the sun goes down, so it makes it a little spookier. And then that following morning, I'm going to talk about that kayak trip and what happened to me out there. And if you want more on that, including even seeing that videos from that day, it's on this channel. You got to scroll back, kayaking Biloxi, Deer Island. You will see that. So if you want to look at the trip, you'll see videos. And the last video, I think it's the 5th video of that, was right after that. Everything just kind of happened. Okay. Some scary shit. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and get the fuel switch on. Trim. All right. Now let's before we get the plane started, let me go ahead and see about getting an ATIS. Alright, I might have to tune to one of the other airports to get this ATIS for this area. Biloxi would be good. Dang, I don't know the comm frequency. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Or I know what I could do. But yeah, let's just do Biloxi. That's the closest one, maybe. Let's take a look. The comm frequency at Biloxi Airport. Alright, Biloxi, and if you hear that, my cat, it's one of my cats there. Okay, let me see. Well, instead of kind of like, I'm not sure what we got here. I might have should have looked that up a little sooner. But I'm trying to keep my page here for Deer Island. Okay, and I lost my spot. But anyway, we will pull it up once I get out there. So let's go ahead now. And I'm going to just judge by the windsock, okay? And as you can see, it doesn't look too bad. Alright, the wind doesn't look too bad. I'm just going to take off from runway 36. So let's tune traffic. We're going to select the runway 36. And let's announce taxi.
5 Romeo, 2 traffic Golf Charlie Tango 102.
Because hey, we're going to get cranked right up.
Runway 36.
Alright, right here. Start. Let's go. Get it ready. And I knew she was going to start right up, as always. Alright. Walking brake is off. And let's just go ahead and taxi right forward. And we're going to pull right onto the runway right there. That first entrance right there. I do have to kind of watch out because, you know, these kind of planes sometimes have the tendency to nose forward if you stop too hard. Not just this one, the other Kit Foxes I have as well. Alright. We can announce the takeoff right now.
5 Romeo, 2 traffic Golf Charlie Tango 102, 2 taking off runway 36 south departure.
So even though we're taking off from 36 and going north, we're going to be departing south. We're heading south as soon as we take off. So let's get on this runway. So just kind of hang around if you really want to hear these stories, because I think they're going to be pretty good, especially the kayak trip. I'll try to make them as interesting as, you know, as I can. Let me just keep this thing on the runway. All right. Looks like a good takeoff. Low fuel pressure. I'm not sure why I have low fuel pressure. I'm not sure why. Because you can see our fuel quantity is fine. We got a half a tank on both tanks. That's plenty enough to fly over to Deer Island, okay? And so when I get over here, I'm also going to talk about something. I'm going to fly on this side, and I'm going to come around, like, I'm going to fly out this way, and we're going to come around and land on the south side of the island, like on the beach over there somewhere, and set up camp for that night, you know. I'm going to use this here, 42 Campout suiting, same makers of this Kit Fox suit. Alright, let's get our throttle back a little bit. Okay, you can see over here, that is, let's see, wait a minute, right here, Ocean Springs. I think that's the boat, yeah, the Beau Rivage Casino. So I'm going to show you something once I get across the Biloxi Bay there. Well, you know, really, the bay is mostly right here, but, you know. And, you know, I wish they would get the bridge settled and fixed here. The bridge that goes across. I believe that they have this scenery enhancement, I think, that might address that. I'm not sure. I forget what the scenery enhancement is called. If you know, let me know down below. But it's on the marketplace somewhere. I forget. But it might address that because it mentions addressing and fixing issues with, you know, bridges that are in the water and things like that. But other than that bridge, this area really looks pretty accurate because, you know, I live around here, you know, around these areas, this area back that way, and it's really accurate. You know, I'm always out here, you know. So, all right, let's come up here. Now, what I want you to look at right now is, and you're going to see this in that video, okay? Take a look at this beach right here. That's the Biloxi, right where the dot's at. This beach, right around here. And that is where I launched at, right around here, when I did that trip there. You see, this is where the bridge is supposed to be. You see how it is? You see the traffic there. It would be an easy fix, but I mean, I haven't. I wanted to do some tutorials on scenery design, you know, and I never did do that, but I would like to. So I mean, that's one of the first things I'd probably fix. Is that? But anyway, in that kayaking trip that I'm going to talk about, I launched right around here. Right around here, went out and crossed over to the south side of the island, past the breakers. And we're going to talk about that. All right, let's go ahead down here. But first, we're going to talk about this supposedly haunted past of Deer Island. You can see this is Deer Island. It may not look big from this plane, but if you look at it right here, the distance from the shore is really close. That's not even a mile, I don't think. But when you're out here, when you're out over this way, you know, you're a lot further out. I mean, look at how this is. It's close to land here, but that point, that far south east point is a lot further away from the shore than this, you know. So let's come back around, and as you can see, Beau Rivage right here. And we at 3,000 feet already, so let's kind of get this plane down. I mean, we're way too high right now, but at least you got to see a good overview of Deer Island, and this is it, okay? That is it. This is the Golden Nugget Casino right over here. The Palace Casino. There. And Hard Rock Casino. Like right here or whatever. Get turned around back to the east. And what you see off to the right, that's Keesler Air Force Base. I'm just going really slow right now because I'm going to be getting ready to descend. I need to get this plane nice and slow for when we try to land on that beach. I was going to take a seaplane for this flight, but I decided not to because I'm always flying seaplanes. I'll say, let's go ahead and do something a little bit different, you know. But it sure heck would have been easier because I'm going to have to try to land this plane on that thin strip of beach right there. But I'm going to just go right around here, try to get it landed, and I'll be happy if we can get a decent landing. That's all I'm kind of looking for here. If anything, you're going to get a good look at Beau Rivage on the left. There you go, Beau Rivage. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and come around here and get this plane landed. And I'm going 80, so I need to get it slowed down. I really do. YouTube. So it shouldn't be too hard though. I mean, it can get pretty slow without stalling. I mean, look at this plane. Okay, let's get it just a little bit further east here. Right before I get to that tree line right there, I'll probably go ahead and try to set it down. Okay, let's just go ahead and work on setting it down now. I'm dropping some flaps in too. I want to basically almost stall this plane, okay? Look at that, nice one, nice one, nice one. Oh, is it? Well, at first, but I got it. A little hard landing, but hey, that's what these tires are for. All right, so we landed, okay? And we are gonna set up camp over here. Maybe not quite on the beach, but about a little bit off the beach, so up right around here somewhere. Okay, so let's pull the plane up, no problem. All right, how about right here? Just like that. Get the parking brake set. All right, and I'm gonna get the plane shut off here. Get our fuel pumps off, all the lights off, everything off there. Okay, everything is shut off. Get these doors open. Alright, so here we are on Deer Island. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to climb out the plane. And this view just looks eerily familiar. Okay, we'll get to that. But let me just go ahead and climb out of the plane and set the camp up. And once it starts getting towards the evening, we'll come back. Okay, so as you can see, I have my tent set up. I got a little fire going. And I got my canopy set up with a chair, put my ice chest out. And I'm just kind of just relaxing out here, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and have a seat here, and we're going to talk about what I mentioned about Deer Island, okay, and its haunted past. And as you can see right now, it is 8:13 p.m., so it's going to get even darker as it goes by, you know. But anyway, a little bit about Deer Island. A quarter mile off the coast of Biloxi, you'll find Deer Island. A tropical treasure is the closest to the coastline of all Barrier Islands. Yet many residents don't know it's there, which means they are also unaware of its haunted past. Well, I would think most people do know it's here, though. So, I would believe so, you know. But anyway, the sprawling 400-acre island is home to 10 different types of endangered species and 2 of the state's most mysterious entities. Okay, and it says, both ghosts were documented for the first time in the Sun Herald in a 1922 article by A.G. Ragusin. You know, whether you believe in this kind of stuff or not, it's up to you, but, I mean, it's just a story here, okay? So, It says the article recounted the tale of two fishermen who were planning to stay on the island overnight. It says, while sitting around the campsite, they heard something moving in nearby bushes. Assuming it was a hog, the men tried to ignore it, but as the sound grew louder, they decided to investigate. So, I mean, it's kind of like what I'm doing here, okay? So, as they approached the bushes, they came face to face with a headless skeleton, which began to chase them. The two fishermen were so scared, they ran for the boat, leaving all of their equipment behind. So yeah, I guess they might have just seen something in the woods, you know, like over here. So, oh man, you just see something? I could have swore I seen something right there. That is crazy. All right, let's kind of get back away from here. Let's finish the story, okay? I think I might hear something too. All right. So it says, so just who is this headless skeleton? According to a 1922 article, he's a pirate who met his demise when he volunteered to guard the loot he and his fellow pirates buried. Once he volunteered, the captain had his head cut off and his body thrown into the bushes. I'm hearing that noise again. I'll tell you what, let's get back away from here. Let's go walk out by the water and I'll finish telling this story. Alright, so, you know, maybe they put some kind of Easter egg in here, but I could have swore I saw something back there in those trees. Look really good. Do you see anything? Don't yet. But I thought I might have. Alright, anyway. Let me get back to this and get this thing finished. I'm about to pack everything in a plane and head out of here. It starts getting pretty bad. Okay. Alright, so anyway. Throughout the years, several fishermen claim to have come in contact with the headless skeleton, which eventually came to be known as the Ghost of Deer Island. Many fishermen recounted the same chain of events, claiming they heard something rattling and shaking in the bushes prior to being chased by the headless entity. The article also mentioned a supernatural blue light known as Firewater Ghost. Alright, I tell you what, folks, I think I heard enough. Let's pack the plane up and get out of here. No, not yet. Not just yet. The mysterious light has been spotted moving across the bay between Biloxi and Ocean Springs long before the invention of electricity. According to legend, the light is believed to be some type of ghostly guard patrolling the area with a lantern in his hand. Have you ever heard about paranormal occurrences on Deer Island? Despite the stories, Deer Island truly is a gem worth checking out. The best part, since it's so close, anyone with a small boat, canoe, kayak, or paddleboard can access it. So yeah, that's the little write-up. It's on onlyinyourstate.com, and I can leave a link to this article below if you want to check it out. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel too comfortable out here, so you know, after I come back, I'm gonna cut out a little bit. After I come back, if the video ends, then just show this to the authorities in case something happens to me out here. I shouldn't even joke like that because seriously, we're gonna get to this kayaking incident, but. The kayaking, let me make sure I clear this up, clarify this. The kayaking incident has nothing to do with this ghost or anything. It's something totally separately different. But it was some bad things, but not ghostly related or entity related. Okay, so we will go in the tent, and I'm hoping that I don't encounter any headless skeletons or somebody holding a freaking lantern out here, nothing like that. So, and with all those dots on hold, check this out, how nice this looks. And I'm telling you, I saw this same site back then in 2009 when it happened, but I wasn't too thrilled, and I'll tell you why. So let's go ahead and stick around. We'll talk about this kayaking incident I keep mentioning, okay? Come on in the tent, crawling here. And got a book there. And across the radio in case I have any trouble, you know, with headless entities, skeleton, or whatever the heck it is. Alright, so good night. I will see you all in the morning. Good morning. Time to rise and shine. Alright, let's step out, and hey, it's a nice day, right? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready to start packing up my canopy, my tent, and ice chest, chair, get everything put away. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened here, okay? I came out and I had an Old Town Vapor 10 kayak. And I had quite a bit of a, decent amount of kayaking experience at the time. And I wasn't like someone who was kayaking for like, 10, 20 years, but, a few years. But I've been a lot of places. I was going constantly in that little bit of time. So I wasn't like a total rookie. And I was pretty comfortable with the Old Town Vapor 10. And so I launched it where I showed you when we were flying over here to this island. I launched it on that beach right there by Biloxi. And the first thing I thought when I got there, I pulled up my truck, had a Chevy Silverado at the time, took the kayak out the back, pulled up, and first thing I thought was, well, man, the water's kind of calm, I don't know if this guy, I was kind of disappointed. I was thinking, I liked a little bit of chop. I felt the waves to be fun, so, and it was calm. Really, really nice day, really pretty, This was in October, like about a week before my 40th birthday. All right, so I launched and I started paddling, and this video is on this channel, okay? And way back then, this is when they had the flip camcorders. All of this 1080p, hey, that didn't exist. So that's when 720p was big. That was like the big resolution. I was recording in 480. A shame. I wish I had that quality, video quality back then that we have now. But anyway, so I paddled around to that far side of the island here, the far west side point out there by Mirage, and I did some video of some pelicans and birds, shorebirds and things like that, and I come past the breakers and I just kind of paddled along, and I stopped a couple of times, pulled the kayak up, walked the beach, and I kept on going down, and went a little further. Water was still pretty nice, and a little chop, but nothing bad at all. And I might have just was not even a mile south off the shore here, not even. It was pretty close, which that all can be seen too in other videos. And I was just working my way east down the island. I was planning to just kind of go a little ways and just come back, But as I kept on going down Deer Island here, the beach, paddling, like I said, I stopped at one time, got off, walked around, and you can see it in the video, just, was filming. And then originally the video, I was talking in that video, but you couldn't hear me too much because of the wind and everything, so I just took it out and put music there. But anyway, I got back in the kayak, shoved off again, went down, kept going down further down the island, down east. And then I was like, oh, that looks like the end of the island. Let me keep going. I'm just going to circle around and come back. But what I saw, let me see if we can see it from here. Let's walk out a little ways, and we'll see if we can see it here. But anyway, no, I really can't just yet. But when we get in a plane, we will check that out. But anyway, way down here, as I went further, you can see it looks like a peninsula. To me, I thought it was the end of the island. So I said, I'm just going to keep on going. Why not? So as I got closer and closer, I realized, no, that wasn't the end of the island. I'm like, well, man, where is it at? So I'm like, that's not the end still? Well, if I came this far, I might as well go further. So I kept going further. Everything's okay so far. Little ways to paddle, but nothing I couldn't handle. All right. And I also had a cell phone and a Marine VHF radio. And I had a dry bag. Well, this Marine radio bag that was kind of supposed to be a dry bag, but we're going to get to what happened with that. But once I got to the point on the east side of the island, I turned to the north because I was going to come back to my launch site on the north side of the island. I was going to paddle back on that side since I came all the way down this side. So I'm gonna stop one or two more times, and then my camcorder battery. About the last time I stopped, right before I got to that point, my camcorder battery. The last time I came ashore and pushed off my battery on my camera, my little flip camcorder, it went dead. Okay, so I circled around and started paddling around that point. As soon as I turned that point, they had these white cap surf waves, and they were atrocious. But I kept kind of going, and I noticed I started taking a little bit of water. No big deal. It was still pretty shallow, not deep water, so I just kept going. Chop was getting pretty mean. It was like white caps, surf waves. Now I had a Vapor 10. It's pretty open. It wasn't a sea kayak. And so taking a little bit of water, more water, just kept on paddling more. And I started going, getting to the north side of the island, and more water. I started taking on just a little bit here and there, here and there. I did have a hand bilge pump inside the kayak. Okay, so I kept on paddling, kept on doing it, all right? And then, next thing you know, the kayak just starts sinking. Just sinking from right under me, filling up with water and straight up sinking here, okay? And it was shallow right there. It wasn't very deep. I don't even know if it was much higher than, maybe not even, just close to waist high, if that, maybe a little bit more. So the kayak gets underwater, sunk, full of water, okay? I'm thinking, okay, well, let me grab a, it was almost like to the top. The water was almost to the top of the kayak. So I'm like, well, let me go ahead and pull out my hand bilge pump and pump some of this water out. That shouldn't be a problem. Well, guess what? I started trying to pump it with the hand bilge pump, and the water just kept going over it. No matter how much I pumped, water was just filling it right back up. This kayak had a 325-pound weight capacity. So once it got full of water, guess what it weighs? Over 325 pounds, because now it's in the water. So I'm having, after doing all of that paddling, I'm having to try to pull this kayak to shore. And walking in the sand, okay, and down there, just having to struggle, pull this to the shore. Okay, and then my bag was submerged. That was supposed to be waterproof. I mean, I don't know how good it was, because a lot of things got wet, okay, in there, and so I kept trying to pull that kayak to shore, kept pulling on it, and then slowly, I'm talking, it was brutal, okay, and hey, I'm a strong guy, I'll tell you that right now. I have decades of weightlifting, and I might have been at one of my strongest points ever right there, and I just didn't have too much energy because I paddled so far. But anyway, I was still trying to pull it up, and I was lucky to pull it a foot at a time. And finally, I just kept on and on and on and on. By the time the kayak got close enough to the shore where I could use some bilge up and take it out, it still was filling up. The waves were just unforgiving. Okay, it was surf waves. You would never think that, right? That you would, in shallow water, you're gonna get in this much trouble out here. You would never think that. So, but the thing is, I didn't know I was totally in trouble just at that point. Okay, so kept pulling the kayak up on shore, finally get back up on shore, and when I tell you I was exhausted, I was totally exhausted. And in order to get at that last point, it's a part here I kind of forgot to mention. I had a bubble keg with some water in it, and I had to use that to bail up that kayak, at least some, to pull it up on that shore. So I kind of did that, okay, and major mistake, major bad thing, okay. And it's not that I had a ton of water left in there to begin with, because I really didn't. Normally that's all I ever needed was, it was kind of bubble keg, good size. It kept everything cold. I think I had an ice chest too. I believe I always had my ice chest with me, which you can probably see in that video, and I had some waters in there too. But I went through a lot of that, Okay, and got the kayak on shore, and I was like, right at that point, I started feeling really dizzy, and then it's like the you know everything was almost like spinning. So I just stopped for a minute, and I the little water I had left, which was nothing in the bubble keg, I had some bottled waters left, and I drank them like almost all the way to where there's nothing left. So probably facing dehydration, I guess, at some point, and exhaustion too. So at that point, I was like, I'm probably, I really thought I was in a good bit of trouble. So as you can see, it's not that I flipped over and was drowning and was in current. No, no, it was nothing like that. It was the elements. It was the situation. So I picked up my phone to dial the Coast Guard or call 911 or whatever I could do. And guess what? My phone was dead. So I picked up the VHF radio. Somehow the water got to it. So I had no communication with the VHF radio. No communication, no nothing. I remember looking across the island over to Biloxi Bay, looking across that island. I mean, I had hardly any strength left. I was just exhausted. I'm telling you, just exhausted to the point where it was just, I don't even know how I made it. I thought basically, the thoughts were running through my mind right there that I was just going to die right there on that island, on that north side. I thought for sure I was. And I was already trying to make plans and figure out what I'm going to do. No one was out here. It's completely deserted. And I couldn't, and I remember at that point, I thought about that movie Castaway, Tom Hanks. Yeah, I know he was way in the Pacific, supposedly near Cook Islands or something in the middle of nowhere. Here, I was just a mile off the shore, and I was experiencing those same, kind of feelings, because I was like, here I was on this island, not a soul around, no boats, no nothing, and it was starting to get colder. Okay, so the next thing I did, I put the kayak in the water, and I knew I couldn't make it down any further on the north side of the island. The reason why, because those surf waves were atrocious. You would think the south side of the island would have been worse, but no, it was the north side. And I just, I couldn't. The Vapor 10 was a great kayak. It just wasn't able to take on surfboard. It could take on some big waves, as you might see in my Bay St. Louis kayaking video. But surf waves, that was a no-go. Maybe with a spray skirt, maybe. I don't even know about that. But, yeah. So, I had to paddle back the entire way I came with hardly any water. And it was cold. And I remember I went around that east point of this island to get to the south side again. Went through the surf and managed to get to the south side the best I could. So, when I got there, I did that turn back around that point. I did a turn back to come all the way back down here. And it wasn't very long after I made that turn. I'm looking this way, and guess what I'm watching? The sun slowly setting. Okay, the sun was slowly setting, and it was getting dark. Really dark, okay? So I just kept going, and the wind started blowing really, really hard. Really, really hard, okay? I just kept going, and I got about halfway across, halfway back, then I was really feeling bad, really extremely dehydrated, just thirsty, and I was getting cold and shivering. And then I started running aground. No problem, you run a kayak on the ground. Yeah, it's not a problem. Just get out and move it or whatever. No, sir, okay? Kayak ran aground, and it kept running aground. And every time it did, I had to climb out and move it. Some of that ground is soft. Picture this, okay? Pitch black, okay? Let's set the time now to about how it was when this was going on with me, okay? Let's set the time, all right? Okay, now, when you're out in the water, okay, and I think there's a moon right now, but this is very similar, okay, to what I remember. All right, I'm out here. Okay, so what I did was I decided to stay off as I realized I got tired of running around. So I went out further, you know, and I kept on having to paddle because the wind was really picking up. The very minute my paddle stopped, it was the wind was carrying me out further. So I just kept on paddling, again, exhausted and questioning if I'm ever going to make it, you know. And I just remember seeing this site right here, but out there a ways. So here it was. I'm in a kayak, pitch black dark in the Gulf of Mexico. No one knows I'm even out there other than people know, you know, I had friends and family that knew I went kayaking out in here in Biloxi. I used to go solo kayaking all the time. And a lot of times I went with friends and my brother-in-law, a whole lot of times. But this was one time I just went alone, okay? And I just kept going. I just kept, remember seeing this site and just, you know, praying I'm going to make it back. And if you know anything about, like, certain areas, there's undertows, there's drop-offs, and jellyfish, and a lot of things in the water out here. Maybe even sharks. You know, there is sharks out here. It's the Gulf we're talking about. Maybe not great whites, but there is sharks that, you know, can get pretty aggressive. But I never had no problems with sharks, thankfully, and I just rolled the dice as far as undertows or drop-off. My dad was almost got taken away in an undertow out in the Grand Isle, which I talk about that in one of my videos, my stories of Elmer's Island. I talk about that. If you want to watch that, you can. But anyway, yeah, so I just kept on paddling and paddling. It just seemed like I was never going to get there because I kept running aground. And like I said, when I went out a little further, you know, I didn't have a problem back over here. But as I started getting down further, I started having that problem again. And I could not, for the life of me, find the breakers where I came through at. I kept going. I was like, it's got to be right here. So I thought it was, and I'd come up close, and I'd be like, man, running around and just wanted to get back. You know, so finally, once I got to the breakers, I was just so happy. I got through those breakers, and seeing my pickup on the shore when I pulled that kayak up was the best sight I saw in I don't know how long. And I, you know, loaded the kayak up in the truck, just like my mind was gone, my physical strength was deteriorating, and first thing I did, I remember getting a drink or something somewhere, and I remember calling my sister and told her everything that happened. I told her I'm never going to touch a paddle again. You know, and I'm somebody, still to this day, I love kayaking. I still like that. Haven't ever came back out to Deer Island since that happened. Yes, I did one time, which was not that long ago, a couple of years ago. And in Intex Tacoma K2, I went from that side to the north side. I went from right about where I launched at, but I went just to the north side with my fiance. We just kind of went there and had a little quick paddle and everything. You know, and technically that's Tacoma K2. And you would think this, right? That's an inflatable kayak. I don't even think I paid $100 for it. But that one can handle that white water. Now, wind it's not good. If you know anything about kayaks, inflatables, and hard bodies and stuff, an inflatable is not good in wind. But hey, that thing can handle some chop. I mean, I don't even give a damn. When that water gets choppy, so what? It just keep on going. But it's the wind. But now, had I had the K2, that day I think would have been, even though that Old Town Vapor Town was my favorite kayak ever, you know. But the K2, you know, this wouldn't happen. For one thing, I don't know if I could have paddled that far in a K2 because it's a lot harder, as you might know if you've done that before. It's a lot harder to paddle an inflatable than a hard body. But if I was able to do that, and the chop and the white caps, it would have went through there with no problem. I might have been a little tired from paddling, but I wouldn't have been stranded, like damn near stranded. Okay, but no offense to the Vapor 10. Like I said, it's a great kayak. It just was a situation. You just don't want to bring it in white cap. You can bring them in big ways, but just not white caps. Okay, so yeah, that was what happened to me to me in the kayak, and I really didn't think that I would see that 40th birthday. I stood on that beach and I thought that was the end of me. Okay, but I guess it wasn't my time to go because, hey, I made it through and I survived. But it's just kind of strange, and I always thought that was a weird thing because it was such a peaceful day. No, water was calm, just nothing, but it just deteriorated quick. And it was cold when I got back because this was in October. Man, it was cold. You know? And let's just say that when I went to sleep that night, I slept about 14 hours that night, next day. And being somebody who's lifted weights and worked out for decades, I've never been as sore as I was that day right there after this happened. That next day, I was so sore. Every part of my body hurt. So there you have it. And I can assure you, I'm pretty sure that story is scarier than this one about Deer Island being haunted. Even though that's kind of spooky, don't get me wrong. I don't want to say that all of a sudden I see a skeleton pop out of these woods. So yeah, there you have it. That's what happened to me. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get things packed up. Now I'm gonna set the time back to where it was. I just wanted to kind of show you kind of what was going on there, and if you remember, it was in the morning. So yeah, it's a lot nicer in the day, isn't it? Okay. So I'm gonna pick this up, start the plane up, and we'll go back and head back to Ocean Springs and land. Okay, I got the tent and my canopy and chair, nice chest, everything picked up, and hey, we're ready to take off and leave Deer Island. And now when I get down to the far east point, I'm gonna show you that point there, where the beginning of hell kind of unfolded for me. All right, and let me close these doors. Let's get the plane started. All right, let's get our avionics on. Fuel pumps, strobe, nav, and I'm not going to put the other lights on. Both lane switches on, fuel valve on, and you know what? We are ready to start. Because it's daytime don't mean I can't see a headless skeleton. No, but seriously, all jokes aside, well, I mean, that is a story. But anyway, if you're out here, this is a pretty cool island to visit. Just, you can, any canoe, kayak, you just take a little paddle out here. But one thing I learned from that kayaking trip there was know the area that you're going to leave, you're going to be kayaking around. And just know it well. Don't underestimate the size or the distance of your trip, because, like I said, I mean, I didn't have even enough water to be doing that. I shouldn't have been doing that, period. Because you see something did happen. You're thinking, you just shallow water, no problem. But that ain't the case. Let's go ahead and take off now. Alright, let's get in the air. There we go. Let's get on up. Alright, so, and this is what I was seeing. Like, when you're out there, you're looking at this, like, it kind of comes out a little bit, but when you're looking at that, it looks like it's the end of the island, but it wasn't. It was going further, but it may not seem too far right here to there, but it is. When you're kayaking, that's a good ways. And up here is that dreaded point, And I'm going to show you that spot on the beach where I stood and where I really thought that was going to be the end of the story for me. Okay, so, but it wasn't. And this is a pretty sight. Alright, so you can see right here, there's the points, okay? That's the far east point of Deer Island. Well, look at the distance from here to here compared to here to here. You see what I'm saying? It's not like you can just paddle right back. And my truck was way over there. I can't paddle right there, you know? So, I mean, I may have been able to. I don't know, but they had a lot of whitecaps. And I'd hate for the kayak that took on water and sank out there. That would have been even worse, probably. Then I would have been swimming with possible bull sharks or something, okay? So, yeah, let's come around and we're going to fly by that beach. Let's go ahead and pull back some. Alright, so I do remember this. There's rocks right there. I remember coming around here and then, man, it just was bad. And it was right when I got to about this point. You see this beach right here? I believe that's the one it was. I believe that was it. Make sure I don't overspeed the plane or we're going to have a little surprise here. And that would be kind of eerie, that happening in the same place all this should happen. Okay? I mean, I want to even fly out there and fight something, but I like Deer Island. And hey, I might go again. If I go again in the fall, I might film it, put it on my channel, okay? Alright, so this was it. It was this beach here, I believe, or was it this one? It was one of these when I struggled to pull it ashore, finally got to shore, and then had to make the decision. It was just way too, I mean, all out here was just really bad whitecaps, and it was just, it wasn't happening. You know, going back that way wasn't happening. So I had the Gulf side of the island was my friend. So I had to paddle from here all the way back around without any water and completely, totally exhausted. So it's some decent video. I mean, you know, my camera work was actually not the best at all, and you'll see what I mean if you look at those videos from back then. But it was a little kayaking trip, and last time I went out here, you know, a couple of years ago, all we did was just paddle from here right across to right there, and that was it. But next time we're going to go to the south side, which that's where you want to go at. So I even mentioned in the description of one of those videos from Biloxi about the horrific events that happened to me that day. And it's just so crazy how the elements were just, it was one thing after another. I'm like, I think I get out of trouble, and I'm just in and again, in and again. It just was never ending. I was just so exhausted. So let's go ahead and get ready to head back to Ocean Springs here. Still getting a low fuel warning. You can see the light from the airport right there. Alright, let's pull up this ATIS. Let's get some more throttle in here. We're kind of having a... keep nosing up. Alright, now let's... Ocean Springs. Select the runway. We're going to do runway 18. Announce full stop landing. Position.
Fife Romeo, 2 traffic Golf Charlie Tango 102, 24 miles west, 1,500 feet, inbound to land runway 18.
Oh, I need to take this off of start power because, hey, we're done starting. Alright, we are at 1,800 feet, so let's keep on heading over here. Right past this, I could you can see it right here. So there's the runway. Hey, talking about that kayak trip made me thirsty. I just had to take a big drink of water right there. If only it was that easy when I was in that situation to just grab a bottle of water and drink. You know. So ultimately, I believe it was just multiple mistakes. The first mistake being underestimating the distance of the trip I was paddling, underestimating the size of the island, where the end of the island was, and just guessing and I'll just keep going. First mistake. Second mistake was, taking my Vapor 10 and the surf waves. As soon as I noticed the surf waves, I should have just turned around and came back. That was really the biggest problem. I thought I could make it through. I didn't think it was going to sink. I never had it happen, so I thought it would just still kind of float, but no, it sank, Damn if it didn't sink. It sure the hell did. So, it went under, and then I didn't think it was too big of a problem. And when I just climbed out. I just climbed out, and then that's when it hit me. When I went to go move, and it was so heavy. I'm thinking, oh man, now what? And that was the first thought in my mind where I was thinking I might be in trouble. And it was just a series of events from that point on. And my biggest enemy was dehydration. Because I'm going to tell you, when I was on that south side of that island, paddling to come back, the problem was if I would have stopped paddling, if I would have stopped that paddle, guess where I would have ended up at? Probably hundreds of miles out in the damn Gulf of Mexico in the middle of the night. And never found again. I can guarantee you, if that paddle would have stopped, then when the waves would have pushed me so far offshore, it wouldn't have been I wouldn't have had a chance in hell, And the reason why I'm saying that, because I just felt so bad. I don't know how I was able to continue going on. If it had been any hotter than what it was, I'm sure I would have had. I probably would have ended up dehydrated. Been lost at sea. Oh, my stories and boats and stuff don't stop right there. I got a couple of you. You all want to hear some other ones? Oh yeah, man. I got two other ones with sailboats. And one was a big Hunter 33. I had two situations with that, and it wasn't pretty. Okay, and it wasn't even like going to the Bahamas, and it was just right there in Lake Pontchartrain. I'll gladly share those with you too if you want to hear those stories. And I might have posted a video and talked about some of those. I gotta look at. I might have. I know I posted a video flying around the North Shore. I might have. So if you want to check that out, you can. If I did, so it talks about North Shore. I believe I did. Okay, I'm announcing on final.
5 Romeo 2 Traffic Golf Charlie Tango 1022 is on final runway 18 to land.
But none of those stories, I don't think I was in near the danger that I was in that kayak trip. But kind of. Believe it or not, I was probably in more danger with a 33 in one of those situations than what I was with my 22. Okay, we're kind of coming in a little slow. Let's get some throttle on here. So I hope you all found the stories kind of at least a little interesting. Some people were asking way back then. They wanted to hear what happened at Deer Island, and I never did. I don't think I ever answered them. I told people I'll gladly share the story, but maybe I didn't want to talk about it for a while. I think I'm dropping some flaps. And man, I gotta get this plane slow down. These things can be kind of hard to land. And it wants to jump a lot too, I noticed. Oh, man, I wasn't trying to turn right there, but we can just turn right around, I do have trouble with the Kit Fox when I land, to keep it kind of centered. Maybe if I had some rudder pedals, it would be easier. I'm actually using an Xbox controller. I do that a lot just to kind of keep camera angles decent. Oh, what is this plane? I don't have this plane. I don't think I do. Wow. There's a Flight Replicas plane that looks like that I have. I mean, if you see the plane, normally you have that. I don't know what that is. No idea. Is that one of those little cups or something? Maybe it's one of the liveries for that. I don't know. I have quite a few liveries for these planes, so it could be. I don't think it's this one. It doesn't look like this one. Alright, let's get it parked right here. I'm a little close to that plane, but we can get it parked right here. Alright, there we go. You know what? It looks like this plane to the right, but in that livery. I might have to check. I don't know if I didn't know I had that livery. That's nice. That'd be perfect for doing flights around historical World War II areas. Alright, let's get the plane shut down. And lights off. Pumps off. Master avionics lanes. Fuel off. Okay, so there you have it. Retract these flaps. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash the like button. And drop a comment if you want to see more things with stories. Maybe I can find some other things to talk about. My flights, you know, I don't know. And if you're not already, subscribe, because I will be doing a lot more things once Flight Simulator 20... Oops, I might have heard that. I hit my phone. Of course, when Flight Simulator 2024 comes out, I'll be doing things. And also, I might put some... If I get any planes, you know, on the sale. I haven't yet. I'm still kind of looking around. You know, I'm sure I'll grab at least one or two. But I'll do a review on one if it's like something that hasn't had too much attention. You know, I'm still eyeing up that Dash 7. I think I would like that a lot. But we'll see. And the A220 I spoke about on the last video that was upcoming, I might do a review video. No, not mine. I will if I get the plane. If I get the plane. So I'm not going to promise anything, but I may or may not. It looks good. I think I like what I see. I probably would like it, but I'm not sure if I'm looking for a little airliner. Maybe, maybe not. All right, so thanks for watching. And until next time, bye for now.